to go live.
Okay.
Okay, now we're live. Hello, my name is Amanda Lucero, and I am a Lularoe mentor. This is my YouTube broadcast or my YouTube channel where we do webinars for our team. And I have been with Lularoe for 2.5 years. Like I said, I'm a mentor with the company. My team is called the Lularoe Pride. And we just got back, most of us got back from the Lularoe Vision 16 convention. And I have invited Cindy Wells to participate in today's webinar on our recap. And the reason I invited Cindy is because she totally impressed me because she went to the convention, not really with the group. Yes, she's on my team, but she's a couple down, and she lives in Southern California, and so she came and she left every single night, but she really got into it and made new friends and really participated. And we had a little conversation via text on the way home from the beach on Saturday night, and that's when I said, hey, I need you to do this webinar with me. So Cindy, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Cindy, and I live in Southern California. I've been doing Lularoe for just about 3 months, about 3.5 months, and I have 2 little boys. I've been married for almost 8 months, so my family helps me do Lularoe. They're amazing.
Awesome. So, Cindy, why were you so excited to go to convention?
You know what's interesting? When I first signed up with Lularoe was when I purchased my ticket for convention. And at the time, I mean, the excitement level when you submit that paperwork is like through the roof. And I just wanted to be doing Lularoe, around Lularoe, talking about Lularoe all the time. And so when I bought my ticket, that was kind of the period that I was in. And then so I really wanted to go to convention. As convention drew nearer, my commitment kind of started wavering to Lularoe, to be honest, and I wasn't sure if I should still go, but at that point, I'd already made the commitment, and thank goodness for that.
We're super happy. So we're gonna do 3 major things. We're gonna talk about Simon Sinek. Cindy is gonna tell us her biggest takeaways from the community classes that she participated in, and then we're both going to talk about Les Brown. So Cindy, go ahead and talk about what impressed you about Simon Sinek's talk to the whole convention.
Okay, so Simon Sinek was absolutely spectacular. He's an amazing speaker, and you can just, I don't know, you feel like he's talking directly to you. He talked a lot about, I mean, he kind of took it back to like our biology and different things that make us do the things that we do. He talked about the 4 hormones that are like the happy hormones. He talked about endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin, and the different things that those do in our bodies. And the 2 that I'm going to concentrate on is serotonin and oxytocin. And so the big things that I took away from his conversation about that was that serotonin is it's like the service hormone, it's the altruism hormone, and it's the one that gives you that good feeling when you do something for another person. And he said that even witnessing someone do something nice for another person gives you a little jolt of serotonin, which is amazing. And then as well, having someone do something like that for you. So that kind of put it in my mind, like, you know, Lularoe always talks about being a servant leader, and I think that there's so much value to that. And I didn't really know exactly what that meant before he spoke about it, but I mean, it's things like, you know, if you have a girl and her little one has the flu and she's on your team, go take her some soup or something like that. Just everything that you do, you should be doing to be a leader. He talked about how letting someone in front of you on the freeway is being a leader. You don't know what kind of day they've had, and you can choose to be rude and angry and get upset with them, or you can choose to give them the benefit of the doubt and be a leader in that moment and understand, you know, that people are going through things. He talked about, you know, the guy who keeps coming in late to work, and you have 2 choices to say, you know, get here on time or you're going to get fired, or you can say, hey, you know, I've noticed you've been late to work a lot. What's going on with you? And I think that is so much more benevolent a leader. People are going to want to kind of be loyal to you and kind of do a better job with you. He actually, I just remembered this right now, he talked about, there was a man who worked for Caesar's Palace, and he also worked for, I think it was the Four Seasons, and Simon saw him at the Four Seasons, and the guy was just so happy and was giving him amazing service. And he said, how do you like your job? And the guy goes, oh my gosh, I love my job. And he's like, I also work at Caesar's Palace, but this is like I love this job. And he was like, oh, really? You don't like working at Caesar's Palace? And the guy was like, no, I mean, the managers are just kind of there to police you and make sure you're not getting into trouble or doing things wrong. And then, kind of getting you busted when you do. And just the difference, it was the same person, but you put them in a loving environment where their leaders are being servants toward them, and they come around and they say, hey, how's your day going? Do you need anything? As opposed to, what can you do for us? Not what can we do for you? And it's the same person, but you put them in a different environment, and to see the change in them, I think that's really, really cool. And I have a very clear idea of the vision I have in mind for my team. I want my girls to feel like that. I want them to know that I value and love them. So that was a really impacting thing for me too. And then kind of the other amazing thing that Simon Sinek talked about, oversaturation is all the rage right now. Mm-hmm. And so, it's a fear. I understand it's a huge fear for a lot of girls. He talked about how, I believe it was Aeropostale just closed 125 stores. American Eagle closed like 175, and Wet Seal closed about, I think, 500 stores. Mm-hmm. And Lularoe continues to grow. In the market that we have right now, Lularoe continues to grow. They're doing something right. And every time that they put out a new style, it's filling a need. It's addressing a part of the market that has not been addressed yet. And so I really think that Lularoe has our best interest at heart. They're taking care of us. They're making sure that we are successful. And when you make sure that your team is successful, you're going to be successful. So those were like the huge takeaways for me from Simon Sinek. He was amazing.
One thing that was huge for me from Simon Sinek was that he said to spread your generosity, not just by money, but by acts of kindness. And that's huge, because so often we can be so busy and we'll just say, oh, I'm just going to do this and give them money. But really, that's not, yes, they'll be blessed by that, but it's kind of it's not very touching. It's kind of emotionless service. But going and doing something, and like you said, taking the soup, going and actually doing something has way more of an impact than just giving money. And that was huge for me, because I tend to think like, oh, money is time, and oh, I can just give them money, and personally, or oh, I can just pay for that, instead of going and actually showing that you care by actually taking time out of your busy schedule and doing something for somebody. That is so much more valuable than money. So that was huge for me.
Yeah, I love that he said that time is the one thing that you can give that you can never get back. So it's an invaluable commodity. Yeah.
Right. Yep. All right, Cindy, so you went to several of the community classes. Can you share what your big takeaway from all of those community classes was?
Yes. Okay, so the first one I went to was the Coaches Roundtable. My coach was Kyle Hilliard, and I think, did they just make Mentor? Or
they made Mentor in January.
Okay, yeah, so that was who we had, which was amazing. So one of the big things that I got from that, which was huge, and I think was something I really needed to hear, was setting business hours. Mm-hmm. I tend to be available all hours of the night. I have a baby who wakes up in the middle of the night, and I'll just check my phone real quick. That's so unhealthy. So setting business hours has been huge. Yes, sometimes I'm doing other work after my business hours end, but for the most part, I try to cap it at those business hours, so I'm not taking away from my family or staying up super, super late so that I'm useless to my kids in the morning or whatever. And then he just had some really good ideas about like contacting real estate agents, contacting schools, contacting hospitals, seeing if you can set up there. That was really cool. And so I kind of liked his idea of like get out in the community and build community, which is something that I was kind of struggling with, not really knowing who to talk to. He had amazing ideas for just challenges to do with your team as a leader to motivate your girls and inspire them. And so I really loved things like getting your girls to post their why on YouTube, having your girls kind of partner up as encouragement partners, and like for a week, set a goal, encourage each other every day, things like that. So that was really neat. And then let's see. I have some notes. So yeah, I think that those were like my biggest takeaways from the coaches roundtable. I also did the time management, which we already know I struggle with. I really liked what they said about it was
Who was your speaker?
It was Amelia, and I believe it was Megan, was it? Yeah. Okay.
I went to that one too. I just want to jump in here real quick. I think that we can all be reminded about time management. You know, I think we just need to be refreshed, because that's my biggest thing that I try to hone in on and teach, but I fall into traps too. So I even went to that session.
Yeah, I think time management is something that I will always take the seminar on, because you need to be reminded all the time. Right. I think even as teammates and stuff, it's important for us to say, hey, have you spent time with your family today? And hey, put your phone down for a little while ago, just encourage each other to make sure that you're building those face-to-face relationships as well. So one of the things about time management that I really liked was that they talked about eliminating time suckers. Oh my gosh, I have so many time suckers. A big time sucker is like perfection, and making sure that when you're taking those photos, it's framed just right. And oh my gosh, this picture is a little bit different than the last one. I need to go adjust the sign so that it's the same. Just those huge time suckers that you don't need to be dealing with. Right. A huge time sucker for me is every time that I get a message from one of my girls on my Facebook, I noticed that there's like 30 notifications on Facebook. I better go check all those, and then I forget to respond to my girls. So I've been trying to be really disciplined and not check my Facebook notifications and just go straight to the Messenger app.
Well, and you can turn some of those off too, like some of those pages that we don't love getting all the notifications from. You can turn those notifications on and then just go to those specific pages when you have time to go and look through it.
I think also putting your Facebook app on the next page and your Messenger app on the first page.
Yeah, that's genius.
Yeah, so just kind of doing things to intentionally make sure that you're not being sidetracked from what's important. So having like poor email habits, emailing all day, every day, instead of sitting down Tuesday and Thursday mornings and busting out your emails or whatever. So there's a lot of time suckers. I get sucked in very easily, so I have to monitor myself and be really careful with that. So I really like that. And even like real life time suckers, things like if I'm hanging out with my kids and I'm about to turn off Netflix and I see a new movie, I'm like, oh, I kind of want to watch that. I'll just watch it tonight. So Amy Francis actually said during her seminar, if your TV isn't making you money, throw it away. And I mean, it's a very straightforward way of saying, do things that are promoting your business. Evaluate everything you're doing. Is it either promoting your business or something of value to you? And if it's not, just eliminate it. So that was huge for me. I think I really needed to hear that, because I had come into convention with my wavering commitment. An escape for me was just to kind of like watch movies, and I committed that I'm not doing that at all, because it's a waste of time. It's not, even if I wasn't building a business, it can be a waste of time a lot of the times, just depending on the situation.
If you're using it as a deterrent, yes, but sometimes it's nice to sit back and watch a movie.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying.
My family, we never sit down and watch a whole movie. We like break it up into 2 or 3 days, because yes, if you're watching a 2.5-hour movie, that's a huge chunk of your day.
Yeah. And I think, if it's related to relationships, like we'll do it to spend time with each other, but it would be like my husband would be gone for the evening and I'd be like, I can photograph inventory, or, since I'm overwhelmed by that, I can just watch a movie. Right. So I think for me, it had become kind of a way to procrastinate. And so I think that it's not good. If you're doing it as like a social thing with people or whatever, I think it's fantastic. It's a great way to spend time with people, but you just need to assess the motivation, I think.
Yeah, that's very good. So I like that. I actually really like that. I'm going to write that. Assess motivation.
So yeah, I think eliminating those time suckers is really huge. And then one of the other things I really liked from time management was organizing your emails. Oh my gosh, this has changed my life. I did not know that you could make folders for all of your emails. You guys, go do it. Oh my gosh, it's fantastic. So I used to have like hundreds of emails in my inbox, and I could never find anything I wanted. Now I've got customer issues, potential onboarders, purchase receipts, and then like my order receipts, like tax write-off receipts, just everything. Just organize every email you have, give it a category, and then put all of them and get your inbox cleared out so that you're not so overwhelmed when you come in and there's just pages and pages of emails.
One thing I took away from that session is Megan Parker suggested just doing all your photos for the week in one day. That way you get yourself all dolled up, you know, you have your makeup on, and then you lay out your outfits. Even if you're not going to wear them that week, you lay out really fun outfits and you just do a bunch of pictures at a time around your home, and that way they're all in your computer and you save time, looking for the perfect spot to take a picture, or you save time even putting makeup on for the rest of the week.
Oh my gosh, I had started doing that after Inspire training, because Amelia was talking about doing that too. And it saves so much time. You guys do it. And then have a friend come over and follow you around the neighborhood and take pictures. I have no shame, so I'll like stop my car sometimes and like just get out and prop my phone up and use the timer. Using the timer is amazing. If you look at my Instagram feed, 99% of my photos are taken with a timer. So yeah, just
like those grippy phone holders where you can hook it to something and then it has like an arm that you can like adjust.
Little gorilla grips, yeah. Yeah, so those are helpful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that idea. And then, you know, if you don't have someone to help you, yeah, just make sure, you know, just bust it out. Do all of them at once. And it is really, really nice not to have to stress out about what you're going to do. I also really enjoy editing all of my photos at once and then putting them into a folder just to post throughout the week. And I just have, you know, however many to choose from. Right. So yeah, another thing that kind of goes along with that is, this was something I picked up from, is the one, I don't remember which one it was, but it was, I think the social media little seminar that I went to, and they were talking about don't post photos if you haven't edited them. I think it was with Sadie Thompson. They were talking about you want to make sure that when people hop onto your Instagram feed, you have 9 boxes to convince people that they should look at more. So you want to make sure that it's bright, it's fun, it's colorful, it's clean, and it draws people in and they're interested to see what else you have on there. Edit your photos, make sure that they all look the same. You should be able to take a photo from the top of your newsfeed and the middle and the bottom, and they should all look the same. It should tell a story and it should be from the same book. So that was a huge takeaway that I really appreciated, and it just it definitely helps people to kind of understand when they see a photo, they know it's you, just because you use the same filters and you use the same style, you have your own specific style. You can get inspiration from other people, but try to develop your own style so that people know when they're looking at your photo, they're looking at your photo.
Yeah.
So let's see, I had a couple of other huge takeaways. So doing, I really want to concentrate more on doing Periscope sales. I think a huge trap that I've fallen into is trying to do what works instead of trying to do what I love. I definitely started just kind of, well, you know, I really, really love doing Periscope, but I'm not really going to do those as much. I'll do live more, you know, just like going to people's houses and stuff, because I feel like that's going to work better. And I kind of got discouraged. I love Periscope so much. I love talking to people, building relationships with people, and it's so much more real to me, having that real-time conversation with people. So I love Periscope. It's like my favorite place to be. Like, it's just so fun. I love it. But I'd stopped doing Periscope because a lot of people follow a lot of scopers. And so, you know, you don't get the same kind of traffic that you got in the beginning. When I first started Periscoping, there was a lot fewer Periscopers and a lot more people that were just, you know, kind of following a handful of people. And so I think for me, I stopped doing Periscope, even though it was something I loved. And then as I've been Periscoping more since I got home from convention, I realized that a lot of the people hop in my broadcasts and they say, oh my gosh, I've missed you. I'm so happy you're on here. I love watching you. Like, you know, I have all these other people I follow, but I always love coming back to you. And that means a lot to me, that relationship that you're able to build on Periscope really does bring people back. They want to hang out with you. They want to talk to you. And so I need to make sure that I'm focusing on the thing that I love. I was very erratic with my kind of posting Periscopes and stuff, and so I realized I need to build a schedule and value those people who you know, who come back to me on Periscope. I need to make sure that I'm showing them that I do value them. by making sure that they can shop every week.
Well, and being consistent.
Yeah, and that goes along with making a schedule. Make a schedule and try your very, very, very best to stick to it.
Right.
So that was huge for me. But you know what? If you don't love doing Periscope, don't force yourself to do it, because that's going to come through on your Periscopes. If you love doing Facebook, do Facebook, but do it well. Figure out how to be the very best at what you want to do, and try to just really focus and learn as much as you can in that in that kind of
genre.
platform. Yeah. So let's see. One of the things that's actually been really helpful to my business is boosting posts on my business page. I know a lot of girls don't actually have a business page in addition to like their Facebook group. I really like having one because it's kind of like a traveling business card. And when people type in your name, it's going to pop up and they're going to be able to kind of scroll through your pictures, get an idea of what your business is like, and then they can click shop now, and it takes them to your Facebook group.
Right.
So I've been boosting posts there occasionally. You can set a budget. It's really easy. You can pick a target audience. And I've been getting a lot more people that are liking my business page, which is awesome. So post to your business page and boost those posts. That was actually Kim Roylance said that in the beginning she did that a lot, and it really helped her business. So I really liked that tip. And then Kim Roylance also said to make sure that you're posting the business opportunity once per week, at least in your group or on your page, because there are a lot of women out there who want to do Lularoe but haven't been confronted with the idea of it and haven't considered it for themselves. And if someone else is out there posting the business opportunity every week and you're not, they might choose to go with that person because they don't know that you're, open to sponsoring girls, to leading them. So make sure that you're sharing that business opportunity at least weekly. And I always like, when I share the business opportunity, to start out with my why, and then it gives people a reason to start thinking about why they might want to do it. So let's see the rest of my notes here. A couple of things that really stood out to me. So I wrote them on the side. Every challenge is an opportunity. I think that was from the Les Brown. So I don't know if you want me to talk about it, but every challenge is an opportunity. I think your response counts most for everything. So make sure that when you come up with those challenges. The other day I had an entire rack of clothing fall down at a pop-up, and I could have chosen to be mortified and be like, oh my gosh, this is going to be such a disaster and no one's going to come and I'm not going to sell anything. It's going to be terrible. But instead I laughed and I just started picking it up, and I was like, oh my gosh, well, that happened. Now we've got that out of the way. So
that totally has happened to me.
Yeah, and so I just laughed. And interestingly, someone came up and started helping me. A couple people came over, and it was an opportunity to just kind of joke with them and laugh with them and just kind of show like how you respond to challenges. I think that can be an attractive thing to people.
That's huge.
I think that might be it from those.
From
yeah,
community classes.
Yeah. Skip ahead.
I wanted to move on to Les Brown, and I think that the people at the convention, because I know that it didn't really hit home to me until because I had the privilege of seeing Les Brown at the leadership in May in Pasadena, but it didn't really hit home to me that we're extremely privileged to be listening to him live until I saw him being wheeled in the side, wheeled in a wheelchair, and he was just in so much pain. And to see him like that just made me realize, like, we are probably one of the last people who is going to be able to see him speak live. So it's giving me kind of chills to even think about it. But I was talking to my father-in-law on Sunday about him, and I was telling him how privileged I felt. And he's like, Amanda, you have no idea how extremely talented he is. We had seen the pictures at leadership, but he was so musically talented, and then to go on and be such a motivational speaker like he is, we were extremely privileged, and we should all be have so much gratitude for him staying there. And kind of like what Simon Sinek said, to kind of think about what the person's going through. Les was talking and talking and talking and talking, and some of us were like, we want to go to the beach. But now that I look back at it, that was maybe his last time speaking. So let him talk, you know. But one of the things that he said is to write your dream down, and write your dream, and then picture yourself in that dream and know that it is possible. And he just had a bunch of one-liners, and so I'm gonna just kind of read them off to you guys. Someone's opinion of you does not have to be your reality. And that's huge for us as consultants, because we so much of the time we feel like we are put out there, you know, when we're live or when we're on these webinars or when we post online, we're always thinking about what somebody else is thinking about us, but we don't need to, because it doesn't matter what they think about us, because it's not the reality. We need to be strong and in what we believe about ourselves. There's nothing as powerful as a made-up mind. So make up your mind. Cindy, you made up your mind at convention, right?
I did.
Look at how, I mean, you said it's only been a week. Look at how much it's changed for you in a week. Yeah. I'll let you share that in a minute. Going back a little bit to someone's opinion doesn't matter. Upgrade your relationships. Some people are not, you don't have to hang out with certain people. If they bring you down, go to the next person. And I've experienced this, you know, and there are certain people that I've wanted to hang around with, but I've realized that they weren't good for me. It wasn't uplifting, it wasn't encouraging, and we just didn't click. And now I've surrounded myself with people who I trust and people who I know that are real. And I have that right. I have the right to be able to do that. One of the things is I won't stay with somebody at these conventions unless they're my people, because you want to be able to go home and go back to your room and relax. And I think that that's perfectly fine. Expect good things to happen for you, and then you must believe in yourself, he said. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. If you do what is hard, your life will be easy. That was huge, because being a Lularoe consultant is not easy. And people may put it out there that it is, and it is to some extent, but sometimes it's hard. You know, sometimes Cindy went through a hard period. You're coming out of that. Sometimes it's hard and you want to give up. You know, there are sometimes when you text somebody and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this anymore. But it's hard. And by doing the hard things, it's going to be easy for us. Look at the profits. Look at the bonus checks that people are making, and how they're bettering their lives with that financial freedom. Les told us to say out loud, I have the will to live my dreams and not my fears. He also said, this is huge, and this is a Frank Sinatra quote, the best revenge is massive success. Love that one. You have a 40% greater chance of success with your dreams if you have an accountability partner. So to take that and go and find that person that you trust, find that person that you trust so much that they can challenge you, that they can confront you when you're being a baby or playing a victim. Go out there. I encourage you guys all to get an accountability partner. And then the last thing I want you guys all to do, even if you didn't attend convention, is to write down 5 reasons why your dreams are worth it. Write down your dreams, know that you can achieve it, and then write down the reasons why that dream is worth it. Go home and do that, or if you're sitting here watching this YouTube, do it and really think about it. You know, my dream in March of 2015 was to have a dream home. I have that now. And now I'm looking to other dreams and other ways to bless people. And it's kind of emotional, because you just don't know how big your dreams can get until you've reached your dream and now you have to move on to a bigger and better one. So, Cindy, what were your takeaways from Les Brown?
So I love that quote that you said, live your dreams, not your fears. I try so hard to operate in that kind of a mindset, and it's so easy to get dragged down. And, discouragement is such a dangerous place to reside. It's really dangerous to us because it just winds up, we have this inner monologue telling us that we can't do it, and that, all these realistic reasons that we can't do it. And so I think that was huge for me too, like live in your dreams, not your fears, because if you try to live in your dreams and they don't happen, then you're still going to wind up somewhere amazing. But if you live in your fears and you never try, you're just going to have so many regrets, and you're not going to reach even half the potential as if you try to concentrate on those dreams as opposed to the fears. I loved that he had us saying out loud, I am capable. I can do this. I will accomplish my dreams. And I think that talking in those positive affirmation kind of ways is really, really great. Something I like to do is I like to write out my fears. Well, I won't have time to homeschool both my kids and do Lularoe. And so then I turn it around and I write it like, I'm homeschooling both my kids and I'm successful at Lularoe, and, I'm organized enough to keep it all together. And like, write out your fears and then write them as an affirmation and concentrate on the positive. It's so easy to concentrate on the negative. For every negative thought you have, I think it's something like 10 thoughts of positivity to negate the one negative. So make sure you're trying to remain positive. I loved the quality people thing. And I think sometimes there may be people who are your friends right now that don't really get Lularoe and are kind of down on it, or kind of don't want to talk about it, or kind of make you feel a little silly. You can still have a relationship with those people, but maybe spend more time with the people who are building you up. I think that was a huge thing for me. I have some people in my life who they just don't understand, and it's nothing wrong with them, but I need to be around people who, when I say something I'm excited about, they understand my excitement, because it's going to encourage me further. So there may be nothing wrong with those relationships, but surround yourself with the people that you want to be like. I mean, the people who are accomplishing those goals that you'd like to accomplish.
I agree. There are some relationships where I don't even talk about Lularoe unless they ask, because it's just like hitting a wall. They just don't get it, and so we just don't talk about it.
Yeah, and that's kind of the relationship. I mean, there's nothing innately wrong with the relationship, but at the same time, having those people who you can be open with and be yourself with, I think there's something so much more powerful in those relationships. It's going to help spur you forward. One of the big things that I kind of took away from this, he talks about be hungry. And if you're starving to death, it doesn't matter. You're going to humble yourself. You're going to go and you're going to ask someone for food. And if they say no, are you going to stop? No, you're going to go ask someone else for food. And if they say no, are you going to stop? No, you're going to ask someone else for food. There's a lot of power in pursuing no. That was like the huge takeaway for me. And so what I realized during one of the seminars, they were talking about hand out 10 business cards per day. I think it was Ashley Hilliard was saying that. She used to hand out 10 business cards per day. She didn't really have a lot of community, so she would do that. I hate and they won't even say no. They'll just do this. Then they take your business card, and it's a face that says no. It's the body language that says no. Or they'll keep their arms crossed and be like, well, what I kind of have tried to remold my thinking into is go out and get as many no's as you can, because as soon as you get that next no and that next no and that next no, you're closer to getting a yes. And I will take 100 no's as long as I can get a yes. So keep asking and keep sharing and keep handing out your business card, keep talking to people, be open with them, because the more no's you get, the more yeses you're going to get just by the nature of it. So that was a huge thing for me. And so now I grab 10 business cards when I'm leaving my house and I say, okay, let's go get some no's.
Yeah.
So, and just be cordial when people do say no, and understand, be grateful to them for not wasting your time and acting interested when they're not. And they're letting you go and talk to someone who is interested. So there's a lot of power in that. And then, if you're ready for it, Brandy, I can kind of share like my transformation. I mean, I said at the beginning, I wasn't super committed to Lularoe when I came into convention. And kind of what happened for me was I was so excited. And I onboarded, I got my inventory, I overbooked myself, and I wound up sharing on Periscope a lot more than my customers really needed to see because I was showing the same inventory multiple times a week. So then the next month I compensated. So of course I underbooked.
Mhm.
And I really, really didn't do very much that month. And I was frustrated. I was like, why can't I get more, more the kind of interest going? And it was my own fault. So
Right.
I underbooked, and then I got really discouraged, and I thought, gosh, I just don't know if I can do this. I can't manage my time. I either have way too much to do and I'm not selling as much, or I have way too little to do and I'm not selling as much. Like, I don't know. I got to figure out what I want to do. And then I started thinking about the end because I was discouraged, and I started thinking about, well, how long is this even viable? How long is this realistic? And, not that I was planning to quit, but I was thinking about when am I going to eventually just give up because I'm so discouraged. And I wound up going into convention with that mindset. I had been procrastinating things that I should have been doing to build my business, but I didn't want to because I was already looking at the end. And when you're focused on when something's going to come to an end, you have no motivation to keep going, as opposed to thinking about how big it can get, and living in your dreams, not your fears. So that was the mindset I came into convention with. And I mean, I kind of was like, well, I may just kind of leave after I register, and I don't think I'm gonna probably stay because they had the whole day of registration, and I was like, I'll just go home and hang out with my family. And then I got there, and immediately upon getting there, I got to meet all these women I'd been building a relationship with on Periscope for
Mhm.
months, and it was so exciting. And I was kind of like, ooh, I don't really want to leave. I want to hang out with them. They're so fun. And
Yeah.
so throughout that day, we hung out. We went to the splash park that night, and it was amazing. Just the community kind of drew me back in on its own. Just getting to see these girls in person and realize, oh my gosh, they really are as amazing as I thought they would be.
Yeah.
And then, throughout the weekend, the seminars and stuff, I started getting really excited to implement these things in my business. And I kind of felt like, oh my gosh, I think I can do that. Like, I can do those things. I don't have to do it all at once. It was one of the speakers talked about how if you go to the dentist twice a year, your teeth will fall out if you don't brush your teeth for 2 minutes every day. And I kind of realized I'm such an all or nothing person that, like, if I can't do it all at once, I just won't start. And so I realized I need to just do a little bit every day. Do something, today that I didn't do yesterday to build my
It
business.
says do something for your business every single day.
Exactly. Yeah. And so build on it. Do something the next day you didn't do the day before, and always be trying to do something for your business every day. And so I started kind of feeling like, okay, this is something I can do. I just don't know if I've got it in me to do it. Because, I, I'm planning on homeschooling my kids. Like, I don't think I can do it. And I started generating all these excuses. And so I was excited to do it. And I knew I could do it at that point, implement the things that I had learned. But I started coming up with so many excuses. Well, one night, team night, actually, I was talking with Brandy Wolf, Brandy's a coach.
Brandy's a coach, and she's one of my directs.
Okay, so I started talking with Brandy, and we were just chatting. It wasn't like a huge, seminar or something like that. We were just chatting. Just being in the environment and chatting with other people, I think, is so powerful too. So we were sitting at the table, and I started saying, the first question I always ask everyone, I'm a very clingy parent. Like, I love spending time with my kids. I love being around them. I don't like giving up any of that time with my family and my husband and my kids. And so even at pop-ups, a lot of times I'm there and I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm away from my kids. Like, oh, my heart is like ripped out of my chest and sitting at home watching cartoons.
Right.
So I really struggle with being away from my kids and my husband. And so, for me, the first question I always ask anyone who is like really successful in Lularoe is, so is it really hard being away from your family? And typically their response surprises me because they say something like, yo, I miss them, but I mean, it's really fun when we get back, and I have fun when I'm doing the things that I'm doing, and then I am always excited to get back. And that answer always surprised me because I'm like, how do they think like that? How come when I leave the house without my kid, I feel like I left an arm at home and I can't like get my mind off of it? And I think like the light bulb went on for me through our conversation that these women are able to leave their family because they've created a lifestyle for themselves where they have so much more time with their family. And so because they have
it's quality over quantity.
agreed, yes. And I mean the things that they're doing with their families, and they've got their lives kind of, they're doing the time management things. When they're with their family, they're with their family. Someone had said, eat the whole pie. Like when you're with your family, spend time with your family and don't answer your cell phone. Put it down. When you're with your business, do your business. I believe it was Amelia said that. I love that quote. I thought it was adorable. you know, don't be kind of a foot in each camp. Spend time with your kids when you're with your kids and your husband, and spend time with, on your business when you're doing your business. So that was a huge thing for me. Make sure that, these people, when they get to that point in their business, when they kind of realize the secret, they have that quality time. And so for me, that was a huge moment. I realized that I don't need to be like trying to get all the time with my kids and my husband in the entire world. I just need to make sure the time that I am with them counts. And so then I kind of proceeded from there to launch into my list of excuses that were still kind of there hanging in the back of my mind. Like, I mean, that's great. And I feel like, I could get over it, but I can't do it because I told Brandy, I was like, yeah, I mean, I would love to like cruise qualify or something, but I don't think I could do it because I'm planning to homeschool my kids. And she was like, oh, we homeschool. And I was kind of like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's also really hard for me because my older son has sensory processing disorder. And she was like, my daughter has sensory processing disorder. And I went, well, my younger son is breastfeeding, so it's really hard for me. I don't know. And she said, oh yeah, when I started, my younger was breastfeeding too. And I was kind of sitting there puzzling these things for a second. And I went, so you're saying that I have no excuse? And she laughed and she said, I mean, it can be hard sometimes, but yeah, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And that for me, being told I could do it, even with all my excuses and all of my, the life that is just happening around me and to me, you can do it. And someone told me that and had the authority to say it into my life because she has the exact same things as I have going on.
Right.
And so that for me was just like, it kind of opened the doors for me. And in that moment, it like everything changed for me. And I said, okay, you know what? I either need to get all in or get out, and I sure as heck ain't getting out. So, I kind of had that moment of revelation, like this is what I want to be doing and this is where I belong. And I need to really commit to it and treat it like a business and stop kind of wavering about my level of commitment to it. So that was huge for me. And I didn't know that I wanted to cruise qualify. When I first started, I was like, I don't want to cruise qualify because I don't want to be away from my kids. Mm-hmm. And then as I started thinking about it, my boys are going to grow up and have families of their own and they're going to leave me. And I have my husband and he's amazing. He's going to be there with me for the rest of my life. And, he has supported me from the beginning of my business, and he has always, watched our boys so I could go to pop-ups and, taken them out in the other room and played with them so I can get invoicing and packaging done. He stays up with me till 11:30 at night so that we can pack up my car the night before a pop-up. He's so amazing and so supportive and does so much on top of working a full-time job and like helping take over some of the cleaning and cooking so that I can do this business. And I want to take him on a cruise. I want to earn that for him. I want him to get to have that amazing week. He just deserves it so much.
Right.
And so I realized I need to cruise qualify. And that's kind of my why before was kind of like, get out of debt, a lot of those things that a lot of us have. But now I think those things will just happen. Yes. I want to take my husband on a cruise.
Yeah, well, that's great. Cindy had the same kind of experience as me that I had 2 years ago, because we were standing in line, I believe, and Jillian had a printout of her team, and she was like, you need such, and I was like, oh, I can't grow a team. And she's like, why? And then I gave her an excuse and she said, well, why not? And then I gave her another excuse and she kept saying, why not? Why not? Why not? Until I was like, okay, you're right, you know? And look at where I am today. And sometimes you just need that, like that, budge or that encouragement or that affirmation that yes, you can do this. And Cindy, I'm so glad that you went to convention. I really feel like it rejuvenated your Lularoe love.
Thank you. I feel like even more than rejuvenated it, I feel like it really is like the beginning of me actually devoting to Lularoe like I should have been from the start. I mean, this is the start of my business and I'm so excited.
I'm really happy for you. Well, thank you for participating in the webinar today. And we'll be posting this webinar into Lularoe Pride. If you have any questions for me or for Cindy, you can tag us in there. And thank you so much, Cindy, for participating.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope that all of you guys are at the convention 2017 next year and that you would attend all the Inspire, I don't know what they're going to be called, maybe Vision, but all the local trainings that you can, because it really solidifies your love for Lularoe. All right. Thanks, everybody.